about guilt. What that is? That Dave? Hello? Oh. Oh, my bad. Oh. Oh, I thought you said he was on the phone. Oh, my bad. Oh. My bad. Okay, what is guilt? Tell me what guilt is.
Conviction about.
It's a what?
Conviction about stuff you're not supposed to do or think or say.
Guilt is conviction? Okay. What else? It can be. Is all guilt bad?
No.
Why not? Huh?
You could feel guilty about doing something that's right.
Oh. Do tell. Do tell.
Like when somebody's terminated, I feel guilty.
Okay, I'm glad you said that.
You know, I feel guilty.
So is guilt a feeling?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Is guilt a feeling? Robert said she feels guilty when somebody, but why do you feel guilty? Here's the thing. But here's the thing. Why do you feel guilty about a choice that an individual made for themselves?
I think it's each individual. I think it's their heart, their emotions, and I think that's what it is. I don't know.
That's why you feel guilty?
I feel guilty because I think about
what
they don't have, they're without a job. And I know, they don't think about that, but, them having to go through that, I guess that's what it is.
You guess that's what it is? Okay, Ashley.
I would classify that as empathy, like putting yourself in somebody's shoes.
It's a form of empathy. But let's deal with what Sister Robbie is trying to say. Or is saying. I'm trying to get you to consciously think about if you're saying you feel guilty for a person. To me, it's kind of hard to feel guilty for a person that has put themselves in. See, it's different. Okay, just like this. All right, I went to see Joyce's little brother, Braxton. My heart goes out to her dad because he's right there. I mean, man, to quit his job, to take care of the baby. Baby got these tools, the baby's fighting for his life. The baby is a baby. All right? Nothing that the baby did to deserve this. Life just happened. Now, I feel sorry, first of all, for that child. Number two, for that father that had to disrupt his life to take care of the baby. It's not the baby's fault. But I guarantee you that, watch this, subconsciously in Joyce's father's mind, there is some form of guilt. Because subconsciously in his mind, any of y'all that got children, anytime something happens to your child, you always run in the back of your mind, could you have done something to prevent this? All right? So all guilt ain't bad guilt. All right? And so to piggyback on what Robert said is, we got to really look at what guilt is and what guilt is not, and look at healthy guilt and non-healthy guilt. Because, okay, you on the job, the people got a job to do, they don't do the job, and so they lose their job. Back to what Ashley said, while we empathize, because nobody wants to lose their, you don't want nobody to lose their job. I mean, you don't go to work every day wishing nobody lose their job. I hope you don't. I mean, some people do, but 9 times out of 10, most people don't go to the job saying, oh, I wish, Nate, you need to be fired, he need to be fired. So you do have empathy for individuals when things happen, but on the flip side, you need to think about, how did this person play a role in what they are currently going through? Because everybody got something, you know, you ain't folk, the folk on your job just ain't fired you just because, you know, it's just because, you know, of nothing. They put the paperwork on you, some stuff happened, you know, some people get fired, you know, and it's not their fault, some other things happen. But 9 times out of 10, when the folk let the folk go, it's simply because of some things that they did not do, all right? And so while you are empathetic because you are the supervisor and you're empathizing and sympathizing because this person no longer has a paycheck, on the flip side of that is you have to always remember that the people under you that don't do what their job description says they should do indirectly affects you. And at the end of the day, anything that affects your paycheck should make you upset. Because you got a family to take care of too. So while you empathize and praying for them, at the same time, you can't have guilt because you got bills too. I'm going somewhere. And so when we look at guilt, when we think about guilt, I think we always think about the negative connotation of guilt, but there is a positive side of guilt. And so I want to look at this tonight because it's an appropriate time to have guilt. And so let's see what he says. He says appropriate guilt precedes or follows unethical behavior. It flows from an internal organism resonance that evaluates action in accord with personal conviction. So some of your guilt, watch this, as Robert just let us know, is her personal conviction that this person is losing their job, I feel sorry for them, and I am somewhat guilty. But why are you guilty? Oh, I'm guilty because, watch this, you the supervisor. So even though you didn't want to write them up, you had to write them up. And so in the back of your mind, you're saying, well, maybe I should have gave them another chance. But I keep telling us, and this is what we got to get on our jobs. You ain't nothing but a number and a paycheck. So even though you in a position, you got to always work like you can be replaced. Because you can. And the whole thing is, but what I always, especially us as African Americans, what I always try to tell us is that we always got to work in such a way that when we're not there, they know we're not there. Not that you ain't got to kiss nobody's tail, you ain't got to do all that. But work in such a way that you work, you know, you work 8 hours, you on the job 8 hours. Ain't nobody working straight 8 hours, you know. I mean, unless you working at the plant. You know, them plant folks. God bless y'all. Y'all work. I mean, I've seen the line. God bless y'all. But most of us on an 8-hour job, we may work, 3.5, 4. Yeah, 3.5, 4. I got it down to a science. If I get there and I get started about 8, about 10:30 or 11, I done seen everybody on all my units. They like, John, how in the world you seeing, 30 or 40 folks? I just do what I do. And I chill the rest of the day. I do Oasis work the rest of the day. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. So I don't work no 4 8 hours unless somebody pays me or something. So most of us do that. But what I'm saying is, don't allow your personal conviction, watch this, don't allow your personal conviction to cloud your judgment. Because I think sometimes we let our personal conviction cloud our judgment, and then back to some earlier teaching that I did, we are products of our childhood, and so maybe you have unconsciously projected that person that you're over, that person that you work with. You have said, well, my sister was in this situation, my brother was in this situation, my uncle was in this situation. And so what you have done, you have projected your own personal convictions on them. And so sometimes you acting out of your own personal stuff. And you ain't thinking logically about the job. You ain't thinking about your children need a paycheck. All right? And so let's look at this guilt because it's a personal conviction. And he says we're born with it. We born with it. We have wisdom that we are born with, which helps us distinguish experiences that actualize or don't actualize our potential. All right? This is our functional ego telling us when we have stepped out of our own truth. All right? This guilt indicates a rendering of our integrity or an upsetting of a natural balance between ourselves and others. The balance is restored by admission and restitution. And so here's the thing. All right? So Robert said she feels guilty about it. But let me, since I've been talking and since you have heard me say some things, let's go back to your earlier statement. You feel sorry for them and you feel guilty for them. Now tell me why you feel that way.
Because I mean, I have to do the dirty work. And to see them, sometimes they break down and they cry. And, oh, what am I going to do? And then, you know.
But here's the
I
thing.
got a weak heart and I cry with them.
Can I offer this to you? I had one of my first bosses in Jacksonville, when I first started working at UPS, said, you know, I'm going to tell y'all right now, I don't fire people. I let people fire themselves. You know how we do. We come in late, don't nobody say nothing, we're going to get later and later. Lunch break. You know you're supposed to be back right on the hour. You may come back 15. So I ain't worried about these folks. Okay. Keep on. Then when the folk call you in the office, then you want to get mad. But you have set your own self up. So why, as a supervisor, why the person that's in charge, why do you feel guilty about the choices, watch this, that other folk have made? Because if I say, okay, I just feel that way because what you just said, say it again?
Because they when you know what, you didn't see potential in them and you want them to do right. And that's my hardest thing. I want you to come to work. I want you to come full uniform, but then when you don't, I have to write you up. If you get 2 write-ups, you gone.
Right.
You know.
That's the rule.
Just do your job. Why you can't do your job?
Well, why our children can't do what we ask them to do? We can't make our children do what we want them to do. So you know you can't make a arrested grown person.
But you think that in your mind, in my mindset, I'm saying, okay, if everybody else come work, if you don't want to hear what I have to say, just come to work in a full uniform. You won't have to hear me.
Right.
But you come in here with white shoes on and you know they're supposed to be black, and you've been here since the beginning, why are your shoes white?
And why are you feeling guilty about telling them what to do? When you done told them about the white shoes, they keep not doing it. Why you?
I don't know.
You set your own self up.
Because you want them to do, it's like.
You want them to do it.
Right.
We want our children to do well.
Right.
But children can be raised by the same people, and they all choose different paths. Some of them hear you, some of them keep their room clean, some of them don't. Some of them pull their drawers off and leave them out in the floor. Some of them don't want to wash, they let the clothes pile up. Then when they wash them all together, have the white stuff clean. That's just how it goes. And so what can we do? Listen, okay, back to me and Nick. Me and Nick makes up the bed when we get out of here. And when we don't do it, we feel guilty. You know why? Because as the author says, there is some personal conviction in us. That's in us. We will talk. It's not, it's right, but it ain't the gospel. But because we've been taught that way, that's just what we do. And so we think, watch this. Here's the thing. We think our truths are everybody else's truths.
That's it right there.
And that's wrong, because you cannot project what your attitude, what your values, and your assumptions are on other folk. You have to allow other folk to say, okay, you make up the bed, but I may make it up if I want to. But that ain't I ain't going to hell because I ain't made up no bed. That ain't the unpardonable sin. And so we project things that are conviction to our own upbringing, things that we're born with, and we try to project them on other people, which is wrong. Why we just can't let people be like me? Listen, okay, I got 2 children, all right? 2 boys, raised in the same house, but they totally different. Totally different. They being raised by the same 2 people. One of them got more care folks in them. That's the truth. I'm serious. And one of them got more of my folk in them. Now, I'll let y'all figure out which is which. But that's just how it goes. And they both will choose separate paths. Everybody know, even at this school, right now, who's going to be the preacher in the family? You can ask any of these teachers that he has. John Michael, they say John Michael going to be the preacher. All right? Because even when you think he ain't listening, he listening. All right? And he love to pray and all that kind of stuff. JR? All right, so we cannot project things, our truths, your truth, as the author says, your appropriate gift and your own truth. You cannot project your truth on somebody else and say, okay, this is right. But clearly, Robbie, as we're talking about vocation and we're talking about work, if there are rules that are set up and everybody knows what the rules are, then you really don't have a reason to feel guilty when somebody consistently break the rules when you have to do what you got to do. Because at the end of the day, if you don't do something about it, the folk gonna get you. And so not only is the person that report you gonna lose out, but you're gonna lose also, and then it's gonna be a major problem at the Tucker House.
Oh, it's gonna be major.
Yeah. Gonna be made. All right. Am I making sense? Okay. All right. Any comments about that before we go further? All right. So that's appropriate guilt. It's you have appropriate guilt, and then you have your own truth. All right. So let's talk about neurotic guilt. Neurotic guilt is a learned response to an external injunction or demand that we have internalized. We have stepped out of others' truth, and this guilt is not let go of by amends or restitution, but this truth, this guilt hangs on. All right? Its origin is the neurotic ego, and it leads to an inner conflict, not to balance. Guilt is not a feeling, but it's a belief or judgment. That's why I asked you earlier. Well, somebody said it's a feeling. No, it's not. We just talked about our personal conviction. We just talked about we're born with whatever wisdom. There are things that we do as children that we are taught that we still do as adults. Case in point. Got the worst whooping in my life for not eating some black-eyed peas and some string beans. Had to sit at the table all night long. All right? And in my house, you could not drink before you ate. So that is a part of me. If you ever sit down and eat with me, I would do more eating and less drinking, because in my house, the conviction was you eat all your food first, and then you drink your cherry Kool-Aid. Or orange. Grape. These Kool-Aid jam with these cherry guys, that ain't no Kool-Aid for real. We make Kool-Aid in everything. Had Kool-Aid in mayonnaise jars, all kinds of shit. Just ghetto. Didn't even have no gallons. Just pour juice out, clean it out, put you some sugar in there. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about it. If guilt is not a feeling, but a belief or a judgment, then why are you feeling guilty about whatever you feeling guilty about? If it's a feeling, you say it's a feeling, but the author said it's a belief or a judgment. Oh, let's talk about it. What you got to say about that?
Well, I mean, guilt changes from individuals to individuals.
True.
One person may feel guilty, or they have guilt, I guess, on a situation. Another person, their belief is different, so they don't feel guilt.
Right. There are some people that on death row that they are perfectly. I'm just saying to that screen. They are perfectly fine with what they did. They have no remorse because in their mind they believe that they were right. So how you can't change that? Why? I mean, but here's what we try to do. We try to change people's mind. When there is danger in changing people's mind, what you got to do is, and I learned this very quick. You got to let folks, okay, me and Charles Jr., we talking about something we don't agree. I ain't trying to change Charles Jr. I can say, okay, bro, you see it that way? Okay, that's your truth. That's your belief. I'm cool with it. I don't go in patient's room and say, if you ain't Baptist, I can't pray with you. I don't do that because I cannot project my beliefs on my patient. I got to allow my patients room to say their truth. Right? Jehovah's Witness, whoever you are, Wiccan. I met a Wiccan today. I was like, what is that? So I had to pull up a chair. I was like, tell me more about this. Y'all Google it. I had to Google it when I got back. Yes, I'm a Wiccan. What is that? Are you a witch? It's something like that. It's something close to it. I was like, okay, I appreciate it. Then I went in another patient room. He said, I don't, you can't be no chaplain in no political world because y'all can't even go in nobody's room and say, in the name of Jesus. I said, well, we kind of that'll provide spiritual support, not to be the evangelist. That's not what we do. But see, that's the politics talking. I said, well, whatever. Sir, do you want me to pray? What you want me to pray? I ain't finna argue with you. All right. So, the belief, guilt is not a feeling, but it's a belief or a judgment. So, let's say that people don't believe what you believe. All right? A lot of people don't believe what you believe. And so what do you do with that? Huh? Allow it? Yeah. I had a same-sex couple ask me to marry them in the hospital a couple weeks ago. So you've been so nice. You've been so kind. One of my patients had a heart transplant. And they nice people from California. Just very nice. Very nice couple. And, y'all know how I feel about that. But, I ain't there. So when they asked, I said, no, I don't. I said, my faith background will not allow me to do that. But guess what? We have some people on staff that will attend to that. No, we want you. No, you cannot have me. But will you be there? No. Well, you can't be. We just no. And so when she asked me, she said, "Well, why can't you just be here? What's the issue with it?" I said, "Well, my own personal conviction." I said, I don't play with weddings. I said, a lot of people go to weddings. I said, but if I don't agree with the union, I don't go. Even my folks. If I don't agree with it, I ain't going. Because when you go to stuff, that means you agree with what's going on. And especially a wedding. That's some serious business. A lot of folks, what you say, it just ain't no ceremony. You saying this before God and people, okay, this is, you and this person going to take a couple. All right? So some of my folks that, they've been married multiple times, I don't. You going to the wedding? No, I'm not. Why? Because I don't agree. Just don't. All right? Now, do I feel guilty? Because of my beliefs? No, I do not. Because those are my truths. All right? And here's the thing. We got to be able to defend our truths and not feel guilty and not let them tell us we judging them. When you simply say, hey, that's what you want to do? That's what you want to do. Now, what I did do, because that couple got married in the hospital, after the chaplain that performed the ceremony, who faith background allows him to do that, after he got through the ceremony, he came back down to the office. I did go upstairs and say congratulations. But that don't mean I agree with you. All right? So, you got to be able to offer your truths, your beliefs, without prejudice. And I think sometimes that's hard for us to do. It's hard for us to do because we want to make people believe what we believe. You can't. You just got to put it out there and let folks determine their own. They got to determine their own truth. All right? Am I making sense? So don't be guilty about, if somebody don't believe you, or somebody don't believe you saved, somebody don't believe who you say you are. Just get over that. That's your truth. All right? Any comments on that?
Okay, I got a question.
Yes.
What if, so I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Okay. So what if what if somebody is in an abusive relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they feel guilty because they don't want the abuser to go to jail or whatever. How is it that you make them not, there's some people out there, come on now.
There is some people out there.
People out there, So, my thing is, how is it that you make,
You still can't, back to what I said, you cannot, until that individual gets tired and coming to their own truth that, hey, this dude or whoever is whipping me and saying he loved me,
right?
that can't be love. Until they come to that, ain't nothing you can do about it. Nothing.
You keep saying make, and you can't make.
Yeah, you can't, no.
Right.
Yeah, you can't, and I think that's what we try to subconsciously do. We try to make people instead of it's just like this, just like preaching. Preaching is basically a persuasion of the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's what preaching is. I can't make everybody see it how I see it. I can't even make y'all. I can show it to you in the word say do A, B, and C. But I've been preaching long enough to understand this. No matter how much I talk about shagging and everything else, at the end of the day, folk gonna shout, they gonna cry, they gonna come to the altar, and they gonna go right back and do just what they wanna do. That's why I don't try to bust my vein trying to preach no more. Because at the end of the day, until the person acknowledges, okay, a light bulb, yeah, it takes some people longer than it takes other people. But here's the thing, we can't judge people because you came out of it at 30 and they still in it at 70. Okay. But that's what we do. We say, oh, they ought to be over there. Now, well, you ain't God and you ain't in their walk. They walking between them and God. Just because you stop stuff at a certain age don't mean everybody. This is the. I told Annette today. I was talking to Annette today, and she was upset because one of her family members, Star, was saying, "Well, you need to quit going to the graveyard. You need to quit." I say, God, if you got to lay down there at night, do what you got to do. That's your love. Don't nobody know how you feel. Do what you got to do. Don't let folks tell you, you out here, you still going down there. Yeah. He ain't there. She said, I know he ain't there, Jeff. It's just, it's surreal to me. I said, keep going. Because you have to allow people to be how they are. It's just like some of us. Sometimes you got to let folks just be depressed. Sometimes folks want to be in the bed all day. They don't want to put no clothes on. They don't want to go nowhere. You call it. You need to get out the house. You need to get out the bed. Let these folks feel how they need to feel. Why you just can't say, Sonny, you're pregnant. You don't have to move today. Instead of Nicholas saying, you need to get up. You're going to be lazy. No, just let her feel how she's going to feel. She carrying the baby. I just spoke. Ooh, that's holy. Just let them be. Let people be. All right. But we try to make people do stuff. And as soon as we get in our mind that we cannot make people do things, the better we'll be. All right? Any other
I have a question.
Yes.
When you have guilt about, I guess it's believing that you can make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And you go into a situation and you don't make a difference and you hold on to that because something happened. Is that appropriate guilt or?
That is appropriate guilt. One of the things that drives my political aspirations is because, and please don't take this the wrong way, y'all saints that love these people, name off in the call, but Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton don't speak for my generation.
That's right.
That there is a generation that is intelligent enough to articulate what they see or how they see society without calling every white person an Uncle Tom or what we call a cracker, whatever. There are some. And everything is not a race issue.
Right.
But it's so easy for us to pull that card
Yes.
because we're only 50 years removed from the civil rights. So it's easy to pull that card and say, well, you know, folk getting killed, they talking about Al Sharpton. Al, listen, unless you got something to go over there on that west side and all that kind of stuff and bring Floyd's back, we don't want you down. Well, babe, I'm upset. I'm so upset. I was so hurt. Lord Jesus. Because Floyd catch my first paycheck. You know, they'll catch a check. You ain't got no idea or nothing. You just tell them what your mama name. Oh, you JC something. Okay, we got it. So unless Al gonna get Floyd back, I'm upset about Floyd. But so yes, Jackie, there is an appropriate guilt. And I'm glad you said that because what that is, that appropriate guilt that you are feeling that you can make a difference is your personal conviction. It's your belief. Nothing is wrong with that. Because at the end of the day, because here's the thing, I heard somebody say, when I was in Jacksonville, we were registered to vote, and somebody said, well, you know, I don't vote because my vote don't count. Well, that's just the most ignorant response. And it was an older person, somebody old enough to be my mom. I'm like, are you serious? You actually believe that? Yeah, they gonna do what they want to do anyway. I said, well, see, that's why we in the predicament we in. Because y'all staying at home when you need to go out and vote. All right? And so, but her belief was, and I couldn't change her belief was that her vote didn't count. So what do you do with that? You try to persuade a person to see it how you see it, but when you see it's a losing battle, this is what you do. You just, if that's your belief, that's your belief. But I'm gonna keep on going to the poll because I believe my little one vote making a difference. All right. So any other? Let's get to these tricks. Guilt tricks. Sometimes it's a disguise of fear. Guilt that holds us back from acting can be a disguise for the fear of assertiveness. Guilt that follows a strong choice can be a fear of loss, of love, or of approval. We may feel the consequences of not being liked or losing control when we have strayed too far. All right? So sometimes our guilt is couched in our fear, if that makes sense. Does that make sense to you? Let me see if I can say it that way. Something happened, I think, Carol, a couple of years ago, here at the school. Some boys, some individuals got caught doing something that they shouldn't have done. And so I emailed the board members and I was like, you know, we Christians, we gotta extend grace. All right? And so my guilt was couched in fear because there are only so many African Americans at the school. And so a couple of these boys were African American. I think one of them was not, a couple of them, I can't remember. It was been 2-3 years ago. But my guilt of advocating them was couched in fear of them not having, the African American boys, not having anybody to advocate for them. All right? So it was couched in that type of fear. Now, what happened was, I got taught a lesson. Because the school has a document that the parents sign and the student signs that says you're going to adhere to A, you're going to have to adhere to B, you're going to have to adhere to C, D, F, all that kind of stuff. And if you don't, you can be expelled. So when I met with the board members, they said, well, we appreciate your advocacy, but guess what? Look what they signed. And not only did they sign, their parents signed. So what you want us to do? Get what I had to do. Let's back up. Because at the end of the day, they have made a choice. Maybe they forgot about the document. It's just like, what's the word? Yeah, that word. Say it again. I can't say it. Yeah, it's just like that word. When you sign some of this fine print stuff, and you getting whatever kind of loans, whatever you get, and you sign something say you won't do this. Then when you try to do it, they say, oh, we got you. Because you signed this, but you ain't read it. See? All right? And so sometimes our guilt can be couched in some type of fear. Fear of whatever, it might be something that you grew up with or whatever. And so I just have a passion for African American men simply because they about to be extinct. They keep on killing one another. So it's like, if I can save one, or if I can advocate for one at least, I've saved somebody. All right. So that's my fear. That's my guilt, and it's my fear. And the guilt of that is disguised in the fear of my African American young ladies not having an African American man to marry. Now, that's a whole nother discussion. We ain't gonna talk about that. That's just how I believe. You ain't gotta believe like that, but that's just my belief. All right. Now, let's talk about the second one. The disguise of the fear. Then you look at the downplay of responsibility. It says neurotic guilt limits us to one single course of legitimate behavior. In this respect, guilt inhibits imagination, the creative as-is of choice. As long as we are caught in guilt, we do not see possibilities of know or know what we really want. I'll say so. So in other words, there's another trick to say, this don't concern me. Like, oh, I'm not concerned about children at my child's school as long as my child doing right. Oh, y'all missed that. So you downplaying your responsibility when you know 9 times out of 10, the person that your child is friends with either has a single parent or sometimes no parent at all. Do you realize that we're living in a population where African Americans, I looked at statistics today, that there are about 65% of grandmothers that's raising children? That's a high percentage. 65% from the ages of 5 to, I think, 12. That's a lot. So what we do, we downplay our responsibility. Oh, that ain't, when back in the day, the village raised everybody. In Robinson God, I got whoopings from everybody. I did. 2 or 3 sometimes in one day. But I mean, we live in a different time. We cannot do that now. But the village didn't downplay their responsibility. Even the folk that couldn't whoop you, if they saw you doing something, they just said, "I'm gonna tell your mom." What was that?
Okay.
I'm almost done.
Should you feel guilty because, like you said, back in the day, village, but the time has changed.
Yeah.
A lot of things have changed. Now people, you know, don't want you to whoop their children, isn't it? So should you feel guilty because the time has changed, though? You know?
No, I don't,
See what you,
I hear what
so
you're
get
saying.
that?
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't feel guilty about the times being changed because how my mama raised me, I still raise my children just like that.
True,
So,
yeah,
so even though the times change, I ain't changed. Cause I whoop.
yeah, well, but what I'm
Yeah.
saying is, you have maybe what, 5% individual like you and me, 'cause like I said, I believe in voting too.
Yeah.
5% individual that think like me. The rest of the younger generation, as they come, like you said, they single parents, this, that. I hear so many of them, you know, the first thing they'll holler is, I don't put my child.
They do.
That's the first thing they holler. So, you know, their mindset is not the same, you know.
It's not, and I don't want to be prejudiced to say because you whoop your children, they're gonna turn out better than children that don't get whooped. I just think there are alternatives, and I think every person need to know their own child.
Yeah.
You know, you had multiple children in the house. It didn't take a lot of whoopings for all your children didn't get equal punishment because you know some of them like John Michael. What daddy done for John Jr. he'll do for me.
Yeah.
So when he get in trouble, what I do, I get silent. And I do what I need to do and start cleaning up all kind of stuff, acting like you know, just because he sees what can possibly happen to him. I think what is missing in homes is that children are crying out for boundaries. Y'all dogs. You watch dogs. Dogs, they'll do certain little stuff. They tap the shoes or may get on the bed. But if you tell that dog, listen, talk to him just like, if you he tap your shoes and you pop him 1 or 2 times, he ain't gonna never touch that shoe again. He or she, unless they just, you know, off the chain like that.
We may not, you know, be somebody else's child today.
Yeah.
I remember a few months ago I was in church, and there was a girl sitting with clearly her mom, and she was like 14.
Yeah.
And she was on her phone the entire service.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? I need to talk to this girl.
Yeah.
But she was sitting right by her mom.
Right.
And I felt guilty, and I'm sitting there and I'm feeling guilty. And then at the end of the service, I said to her, I said, how old are you? And she was like 14, which I guessed right. I said, you're old enough to pay attention to what's going on in church.
Right.
Right? Yeah. You need to put your phone away because you're in church. Church is not time to. She was just on her phone, and it was distracting me. You know what her mom turned to me and said? She was like, "Thank you so much." I'm like, you couldn't tell her.
What's up with that? Yeah.
You'd be surprised.
I will say, being an educator, I'm able to tell people something the same thing that their mother said, and it comes off differently, and they go back to their parents. I'm sure there's a lot of parents in here that have told their kids something, and went somewhere else and somebody else said the same exact thing, and they actually heard it. So I wouldn't feel, you know,
Cynthia Thompson would have snatched that phone out of my hand. Because I thought, you know why I was hesitant to say something, because I thought, you know what, same thing Beacon said, that the mother would have got upset with me for speaking to her child. No, she was grateful, and I'm like, you couldn't tell a 14-year-old to put her phone away. Who's running your house?
Well, the whole thing is, you gotta start down here. You can't wait till they get it. It's too late. Too late then. That's a sad commentary.
Right, so I was there sitting guilty because I'm like, I'm going to discipline this woman's child, and then she's going to pop off, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to act. But she was saying thank you. But so sometimes guilt, you think it's not your responsibility. You know, I wouldn't, if it was my kid and I said once, put your phone away, and the second time, because of how I was raised, you would get something on the backside of your head. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
But
right.
I still have a responsibility as an adult. Just
Yeah.
like if I see any kid around here running around,
Yeah,
it's my responsibility. You know what? Maybe
Yeah.
I may have to talk to the parent and say, hey, they were acting out.
You,
But
a perfect example. Me and Karen were dealing with a situation the other day. And so we were talking to the parent, and the parent said, well, you know, I told them I wasn't going to tell y'all. And I looked, I said, you know, in my mind, I'm like, if you're an adult and you see a child and you know they acting up, so, well, how I was raised, it's your responsibility. You ain't trying to be their friend. But sadly, a lot of parents, oh, you know, I ain't gonna tell your mama. What? No, because here's the thing. You need to say something. Now, whether the parent do something or not, that's left up to them. But I think sometimes, children crafty. If they know they can get away with it, they're gonna do it. The stuff we got away with, we did it because we could do it. The stuff that we couldn't do. All right. Anybody else? Let me get these last two, and then we're gonna. So we disguise fear, we downplay responsibility. Then the other side of guilt is sometimes it's a mask for anger. Guilt can mean sometimes justifiable anger toward a respected parent or authority figure or a friend who seems to have obligated or inhabited us. We believe it is unsafe or wrong to feel or to express this anger. And so what the author is saying is that's not true. Why you gonna, here's the thing, and I never get this. Okay, you find out who people really are. I mean, and you call them on the carpet for who they are. I'm talking about you know it. Why in the hell do they get mad with you and quit talking to you? You know why? The mask of anger. They mad because they can no longer, watch this, be manipulative. Now the scales off your eyes, now they don't want to talk to you because you know who they really are. I never understood. Why you gonna get mad if I'm talking about Charles Jr. Find out? Then if I'm caught, I'm just caught. We adults. We ain't in the 5th grade no more. That don't mean you just turn your back and act like the person ain't there. I'm ignoring them. They ain't even in the room. I mean, they dead to me. No, they ain't. They right there. What is that? Because you're angry, and why not say, here's the thing. And this is what we got to do. The author talks about, I was reading the other chapter the other day, when he talks about becoming an adult, he says, why don't grown people sit other grown people down and say, Nick, when you did this, it hurt me. I'm upset with you, I'm angry with you, and I want you to know how I felt. He says, why can't adults just do that instead of downplaying and avoiding it and putting it somewhere, and then when it filters up the little problem that you had with it because you didn't tell them about the other two problems, it filters up and it spills over to something big, and now where a relationship or friendship could be salvaged, now it's tore up. Simply because you didn't want to say, listen, Erica, you hurt me. When you said that, you hurt me. I didn't like it. What's wrong with that? We're adults. And so that's what he's talking about. If we're going to be adults. Children do those childish things that we did when we were 13. They do that. But now that I'm an adult, if it's something that I don't like that Deacon doing, guess what? I'm going to tell him. Because I'm grown. Now, how he takes it, that's on him. But as an adult, listen, talk to who you need to talk to. And quit talking about it. Talk to the person. Have a meeting. You know we don't want to have a meeting with people that we have issues with, because 9 times out of 10 we will find out that the issue that we had with the individual is really not them, it's us. And so we are afraid because The personal conviction, because something that happened to us in our childhood, somebody hurt your feeling when you were a child, and you still subconsciously holding on to it, and you promised the Lord and 2 or 3 respectable black people that when you got grown, you weren't going to let nobody get that close to you no more, and they ain't going to hurt you. That's $75 right there. Because I know I just helped y'all. So why not deal with it in an adult way? If you angry, say you angry. If you pissed, say you pissed. If you hurt, say you hurt. And then explain to the person why. And guess what? They may not take your truth. But at least you said your conviction and what you believe personally. Last one. This one free. Sometimes guilt is a dodge of truth. Guilt is sometimes used to avoid an unacceptable truth. For example, during childhood, and I just said something about that, rather than face the painful truth that our parents may not have loved us, people will say, well, I wasn't measuring up to their expectation. That's what we'll do. Things that have happened to us in our past that we have not dealt with, they keep recurring over and over again into our adulthood, and it's going to keep happening until we deal with what we need to deal with. You got to deal with it. You got to talk about it. You got to say what it is, own what it is. I'm scared, I'm mad, I'm hurt, I'm sad, I'm glad. The 5 feelings. You always are one of those 5. You either sad, mad, glad, happy, or angry. Oh, that's wrong. I can't. That's why I said don't pay me for that. All right. Lastly, and I'm done because I got a meeting. But working with your guilt, there are 3 things that you got to do. You got to admission. On the back, you got to try to amendment. You got to make amends. All right. And then thirdly, have affirmation. Because if you have affirmation, the spiritual shift will occur. Because what will happen is you will become compassionate to other folks. The reason I keep telling you this, and I can't get you to see this, because God said I give you pastors after my own heart. A pastor that does not have compassion for nobody. That's why I'm always for the underdog, man. My friend at not where yet? Mississippi. My friend I preached revival for him. He got locked out of his church. And while he has some stuff that he has to own up to with that, but at the end of the day, when folks down, you don't kick people. You don't do that. When people down, you call yourself a friend. You say you love them. You don't kick people. I fussed. I said all kind of stuff to him. But at the end of the day, when he called me sincerely and say, hey, I ain't really have it. But guess what? If y'all put me out Sunday, I'm going to call some, but we're going to blow it up. Y'all don't know me. I'm going to be so gangster. Y'all don't know me, baby. West side so quick. Y'all be like, that nigga was just speaking in tongues. He done come snapping. He's like, the Lord is left. Anyway, I'm just saying, because folk can snap like that. There's going to be some problems. First, I'm going to tell y'all, give me my check. Give me everything y'all open up, turn in all my receipts. I give all my money. Whoa, get the checkbook, dog. I ain't playing, but anyway. A lot of truth told through a joke, y'all better. I'm done. All right, any questions? I said I wasn't gonna cut up. Now I was tired when I first got here. I'm all right now. All right. Any question? Any question? So deal with your guilt. Deal with your guilt. Guilt is not a feeling. It's a belief or a judgment. It's a belief or a judgment. All right. All right. Any questions?